Welcome back to the Geiser Show, Year 3, Episode 13. I'm Cade Crackiston alongside Coach Geiser. And Coach, we're down to the finish line.
Down to the finish line. Very last episode this year.
It is. As a reminder, we're not going to be done just yet, though. We'll have more in the spring. It is the last one for the semester.
For the semester, yeah.
It is the last one, but we will have a couple more coming your way in the spring to obviously keep going with AU football. But, Coach, talking about this past year, what a year it was. Obviously, we've got a lot of things to cover, but, first and foremost, I just want your cold, hard thoughts on how the year went.
It was very successful. Our first goal every year is to win the conference, and being co-champs this year, and so you had a chance to be GMAC champs for 3 out of 4 years, which is a great legacy for the senior class. And so it gives a testament to all the hard work they put in. The first group to come through and be in the playoffs 3 years. They've been in the postseason 4.
Wow.
And you win your first bowl game, and the only team in the GMAC to win a bowl game at this point. At that point, the Crossroads Bowl. Now was it the Albanese Bowl or something?
Yeah.
Albanese Candy Bowl,
yep.
whatever that is. But more than anything else, as we talked about at the banquet last night, I'm also proud of the fact this senior class has been here. We've been over a 3-point GPA as a team GPA the last 3 semesters. Hopefully, that's 4 going into the fall, and then since January 2023, they've done over 2,000 hours of community service, giving back. Okay, so they're not only giving excellence on the field, they're giving excellence in the classroom and also in the community. And that's all you can ask as they grow into men, as they grow into Ashland men.
Yeah, and obviously we talk a lot about the players too, but I'm very interested in how the coaching side of things, yourself and your staff, when you evaluate that and how the guys kind of banded together to make sure that this season was a success, what do you think about that?
We are very blessed with the coaches we have on staff. We have a good mix of experience, guys like Tim Rose and John Sockerman and Tom Stacy, but also youthful exuberance. Don Orsini does a great job for us, and AJ Nicolai, Donzel Ashley, Garrett Turnbull. And then you have those guys right in the middle. They're seasoned, but they're still young, and Jim Cordell and then Andy Tabler. They do a tremendous job for us. They do a tremendous job for the kids. And the first thing they do is the players know that they love and care for them, and they have their best interests at heart. And they're going to push them. And sometimes there's tough love. But they're also great teachers.
Yeah.
And you get that kind of combination there, and the players buy into what they're doing, and you see the result on the field. Very, very well coached. Don't make a lot of mistakes. Make plays when the situation arises, and hence you have 10 wins.
Exactly. Well, Coach, normally I'd say, hey, who's coming on the show today? That's not the case, though. It's just you, myself, our WRDL and AUTV correspondents, and Dusty Sloan, the Director of Athletic Communications. So it should be a good one as we recap everything. And then at the end of the show, we'll talk about what's to come.
Sounds good.
Sounds great. Well, we'll step aside, join you back here soon. We've got lots more to come right here on the Doug Geiser Show, Year 3, Episode 13. Welcome back to the Doug Geiser Show, Year 3, Episode 13. I'm WRDL correspondent Louis Tamira.
And I'm AUTV correspondent Bryce Gatton.
Now we're sitting here with Coach to break down the playoffs overall. But first question for you is now focusing on this Ferris State game. It's been a week since you guys have been removed from it. What are your overall thoughts?
I had challenged the team in pregame to come out fast and establish ourselves in all 3 phases. I think they did that. And we just didn't have enough to finish the game off. Turned the ball over in there, had some issues on the flank as far as our perimeter defense against the run game. And they're a champion for a reason. And we had some good moments during the game. I think we proved we belong in that venue, but a little too much in the end with their speed on their flank caused us some issues.
And now, pulling it broader on the playoffs as a whole, what were some shining moments that you took away from the 2 games you guys played?
I would say more than anything else, the way our guys led, our seniors, our upperclassmen. The 4th year in a row we've been in the postseason, and they weren't in awe of the moments. And they went in there and went out and shot our shot. I thought we played our best game of the year against Minnesota Duluth. Unfortunately, couldn't carry that over to Ferris at that point, but that struck me number one. And number two was you could realistically see our guys playing 3 more weeks, meaning this, they were not tired physically or mentally. And I think from having a chance to go in the playoffs repeated years, the guys understand the length of the season. They understand they're used to practicing on a Thanksgiving now, for example. So it bodes well for the future that they understand that, hey, we'd like to play 3 more weeks. Just this year, we got knocked out after week 2.
And then talking about the seniors, Michael Shimmick, he's up for the Gene Upshaw Award for Best Senior Lineman of the Year. What can you just say about the amazing season he had for you guys?
It's a result of talent, number one, and number two, his work ethic is off the charts. And the time that he puts in at the facility, away from the facility, out of the eye shot of everybody else is amazing. And so every honor he's getting is definitely well-deserved. All the production he's had is definitely well-reserved. And it's great confirmation for him that process does work. And so a lot of respect. He's one of the hardest workers I've been around in my 36 years of coaching.
Now, of course, taking a look at some of the freshmen on this team, guys like Chris Maloney and DJ Harvey, those are just 2 names. Obviously, you had a whole group of guys come in and really excel in this program. How excited are you to see their development for the next season?
I'm excited for the future of Ashland football, and we hate to lose our senior class. They're one of the most storied classes in our school's history. But when you're following it up with guys, you mentioned DJ, you mentioned Chris. You want to put in that mix Ryan Zywick, who played a lot of snaps for us in the defensive tackle position. We weren't expecting that. Manaki Watanabe, a kicker, who's a redshirt freshman. But, those guys like that really leave a bright horizon for the Eagles in the future.
Absolutely, and you hinted at that senior class leaving, and obviously that brings us to our big elephant in the room of Cam Blair. Your quarterback position is going to be empty this year. Yeah. I'm not asking for an answer right now of who your quarterback's going to be, but how do you go about the offseason now with that quarterback position being open?
Well, we've got a number of guys on campus that'll be in competition for that job. Drew Novak, I want to mention him, was in competition with Cam last year. We will let that group fight it out. We're also going to supplement it with the recruiting, and we'll look to bring in 2 scholarship players. One will be in high school. We'd like to bring in a kid from the portal for a little more experience. Put them all in the mix and let them fight it out, and the Eagles will be best with whoever wins that job.
You just mentioned recruiting and transfer portal. That was my next question for you. What does that look like from your point of view?
Well, at this point, we had our first official visit last week, less than a week out of the Ferris State game. We're already at 6 commits for next year's class, and we're looking to supplement that. We're going through, and this past week has been evaluating our players, doing exit interviews, but also preparing to get guys on campus and see if we need to offer anybody else. We have a number of early offers out, and do we supplement that? When do we get these guys on campus and look to seal the deal and look to really supplement the roster we have coming back, which I'm very excited about.
My final question to you, Coach. All season long here on the show, we've joked behind the scenes about you giving me a one-word answer. So now my final question to you is, if you had to describe this season as a whole in one word, what would it be?
Successful.
There we go.
There we go.
Awesome. Well, we'll take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. You're watching The Doug Geiser Show, Year 3, Episode 13.
Welcome back to the Doug Geiser Show, Year 3, Episode 13. This is Dusty Sloan, the Director of Athletic Communications here at Ashland University. Honored to be here with Coach Geiser to wrap the season up. And Doug, I told you how much I thoroughly enjoyed the 2025 season the other day, but let's break it down a little bit further here. And let's start way back at the beginning. And when the schedule came out, we talked about football signing day in 2025, released the schedule, 6 of the first 8 games at home, and everybody's wringing their hands. And what I said was, well, but if you play well in those first 8 games and lose 0 or maybe even just 1 game, you're leaving yourself with a great opportunity to be successful, and that's exactly what happened.
It was, and I had challenged the team in preseason training camp, very first night. And the challenge to them was, okay, hey, number one, this is the only night we're ever going to talk about the schedule because we can't control it. And so 6 of the first 8, big challenge. The challenge is get us to the last 3 games, the fourth quarter of the season, where those games are meaningful. And the guys responded to that challenge. They kept their focus, the one game at a time mantra really, really worked with that. And, we're able to finish up with 4 straight at home, actually, counting the first round of the playoffs. And it was great to finish up there with probably our best performance of the year against Minnesota Duluth.
So as we break down, and as I like to call them, nuggets for the football season, I want to start with your leading rusher and your leading receiver, Chris Maloney, DJ Harvey. I can't prove this, unfortunately, going back through the records. I can't imagine there's another season in AU football history where your leading rusher and your leading receiver are both true freshmen. And particularly with Chris, where he didn't play a whole lot till the start of November, it's a testament to both those guys being ready to be able to come in right away on a college campus and do what they did.
Yeah, and if you look with DJ, he came and basically volunteered to be here the whole summer. He made that sacrifice and put himself up in a dorm and worked out with us. And his goal was to come in and play early. And he got himself in tremendous shape and was able to hang around the older guys, get a chance to learn a little bit, so he's not coming in doing discovery learning from day 1 of camp. And so the testament to the hard work he put in, I think you saw that on the field. And our future is very bright with DJ Harvey and the other part of that freshman class in their receiver room.
You talk about that freshman class, and we talk about it every single year when you and I get together to do the game notes for every single game. The contributions that you get from true freshmen and redshirt freshmen every single year, sometimes it's because of attrition, sometimes it's just that they're that good that they need to play. But to be able to get that kind of production from guys who have only been on a college field for less than a full year, it's an impressive thing that you guys get year in and year out.
I think it's a testament, to those kids buying in and putting the work in to get themselves prepared. It's tough. When you go to college the first time, you're used to being BMOC wherever you came from. Then all of a sudden you have to start at the bottom of the barrel and you work your way up. So a testament to their stick-to-itiveness and their preparation, number one. It's also a testament to the coaches, to be able to prepare those young guys who don't have a frame of reference a lot of times with our system, and to get them in a position where they can succeed in those situations. And so I think it's probably a twofold scenario there. And really what you got to think about, in Division II, you got 36 scholarships, the equivalent of. You need to be able to develop people as well. And so, you need to be able to find people. So even more so nowadays in the days of the portal, there might be a little bit higher level of athlete available to us that wouldn't have been 8 to 10 years ago. So we're getting those guys in, and the coach is doing a great job preparing them. The kids are buying in, and we're seeing the fruits of that labor on the field.
We talk about a 10-3 season, winning a playoff game for the second year in a row. It's never happened in program history, beating a team like Duluth at home. And you did that despite, when you look at the defensive line and the injuries you had at defensive tackle, to the point where earlier in the season you were moving offensive linemen to defensive tackle. And when a guy like John Sockman tells me he's never seen anything like this, well, certainly I've never seen anything like it. So to be able to be successful despite all of that attrition, it just has to speak volumes about the program, doesn't it?
It does, and once again, we have great kids in that room, kids that buy in, guys like a senior like Jacob McCabe, he's in his last year, and being very selfless and willing to make that move to help us on the defensive line. And also a testament to John Sockman. He would never say that, he would never brag on himself. I will brag on him. He's one of the best defensive line coaches in the country, and has been here spanning over the 4 coaches, not for the 67 years, but over almost 50 years at this point. And he does a great job preparing those guys. Great job by Tim Rose, being able to put them in a situation where they can help us succeed as well. And yeah, it literally, we had 4 of our top defensive tackles go down with season-ending injuries. 2 in the first 2 weeks with ACL. It was, you almost felt snake bit at that point. But as I told the team, hey, it's next man up. Nobody's feeling sorry for the Eagles in this situation. At the end of the day, you're just going to ask what the result is. We had a number of guys buy into that ethos, and when you have good players around them too, players like a Jack Talkington, a Mike Shimmick, and a Ben Holzoffel, E.J. Tia, Elisha Baldridge, it helps mitigate that a little bit. You might not have the same talent level there, but you definitely have the same effort level. And I think a combination of all those things allowed us to have a very good defense, even despite all those adversities.
And you mentioned Elisha Baldridge, and I wanted to bring him up. There aren't a lot of players in college football who end up with, I think it was at least 12 sacks, and running down on kickoffs. He was almost a unicorn for you in his first year as a starter, and you couldn't have asked for any more from the guy.
Absolutely. It's just a tremendous, tremendous heart, tremendous motor. And in a package like that, if there's that old statement that John Cooper arriving at the ball in a bad mood and causing havoc, that is Elisha Baldridge. And he literally won one of our Special Teams Player of the Game awards just for going down and just wrecking people trying to double team him. And so it's fun to see. If you ever want something fun to do, is watch the game. Just watch Elisha. Don't watch the ball. Watch Elisha, and you'll bring a smile to your face how hard he plays and the effort he gives.
And we mentioned young players stepping up. Obviously, Manaki Watanabe, a redshirt freshman kicker, leads the country in total field goals, leads the country in field goal percentage. And I can make a strong case that it's the best freshman kicking season in the history of Division II. And he comes out, and obviously the 59-yard field goal was a big deal. But the guy just was automatic almost every single week. And that gives a coach like you a lot of comfort when that's the case.
Yeah, it does, especially if you know, hey, we get to the 30-yard line going in, we got at least 3 on the pocket. So that affects your play calling. Like, okay, don't put us in a situation where we're going to lose yards at this point. Although, as Manaki proved, we can take the ball at least to the 42, and still have 3 in the pocket there. But he did a tremendous job. It was, you mentioned, it was a great peace of mind for me. He did a great job sitting under the learning tree of A.J. Rhodes last year. And not only how to do it, but also how to prepare. And testament to Manaki, thank you to A.J., and it was a great relief for us because I had no idea who the next guy was going to be after having a 3-year all-conference kicker in A.J. once he graduated.
And finally, because of all the things that we've just talked about in the last few minutes, and taking away the undefeated seasons we've had in this program, but you throw everything that we've talked about, and then you talk about a first-year starting quarterback. You talk about an offensive line that was basically together for 2 full seasons as starters, which doesn't happen very often. When you talk about the linebackers you talked about that stayed healthy for the most part and were productive, all the block kicks. I can make a case that this is one of the best seasons of Ashland football in the 105, 106 years that we've had it. Would you agree with that?
Well, I haven't seen all 105 seasons.
Neither have I.
I would make a case it's a very special group. It's a very special group. They all bought into that team ethos and, being Ashland men and fighting together for a great cause and fighting with honor. And, oh, by the way, they're very talented and accomplished a great deal. I don't know what the number is. Number of 10-win seasons in our history, I know is not very many.
6.
6, okay. So they're one of 6. They're one of 6 in 105 years. And the fact that they were able to do it the right way, and do it the old school way and play for each other, play for love of teammate, it made me feel really good as a coach that they bought into that whole scenario there. And to have the success they had, it's kudos to them. I have utmost respect, especially for that senior group. Playing 50 games and, being 38-12 in the last 50 games. That's tremendous legacy. But as I challenged our team at the banquet last night, the returners, I said, this group is really good. And we're taking a step forward as a program. I said, the whole thing now is, are you willing to take that next step and go from good to great? And surpass the legacy of these graduating seniors. So that's kind of the mantra for next year. Are we willing to put that time in and strive to become good? Go from good to great.
Well, we've discussed a lot already about the 2025 football season. We'll have a lot more coming up on the Doug Geiser Show Season 3, Episode 13, after these very important words.
Welcome back to the Doug Geiser Show, Year 3, Episode 13. I'm Cade Crackister alongside Coach Geiser. Coach, it's our final segment of the day.
Final segment, the final show of the semester.
Exactly. Well, before we, dive into, things to come, let's talk about this past season one last time here. Got 2 quick questions for you. The first one is, something that we talked about throughout the spring and then early in the year was that trip that you guys took for 5 different states and 5 different games. How do you think the team handled that?
I think they handled it very, very well. It's kind of something, we looked at it as a so what. And, okay, what's the most important thing? You keep the most important thing, that's the game. And we took the mantra almost of, hey, just tell us where to show up, when to show up, and we'll do it there. We can't control that. We can't control the weather, can't control the officials. We can control our play. Let's show up, let's play as well as we can, and let the chips fall where they may. And we came through that segment, I believe, 4-1. And it was a good bounce. The biggest thing was getting that victory at IUP initially, and getting off the Schneid, getting the first win in school history against them. And that really set us up well for the rest of the year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And it obviously set you guys up for a lot of success, both as a team and a lot of individuals as well. We talk about postseason honors and awards. There were a lot for you guys this year.
Yeah, there were. I mean, we were fortunate to have 13 of our players recognized as all GMAC.
Wow.
Headlined by Mike Shimmick, who was the player of the year, not the defensive player of the year, but the player of the year. And you got somebody like Menaki as well. And amongst others, our senior offensive, two senior offensive linemen, Nick Walker, Ethan Enders, they're 4-time all GMAC. Nico Trasick, offensive lineman of the year and also first team. Jack Talkington had a tremendous year. And so you start out with that base right there. And, and then we followed up with, the three defensive backs, Jelon Jackson and Izzy Vasquez, EJ Tia, Ben Holzoffel, Ty Stevenson. Those tremendous players for us, tremendous players for us. And, those seniors will be missed. And those who are underclassmen will come back and be the leaders of next year's group, you would think.
Yeah.
And so I'm always happy when our guys get recognition for the hard effort and the hard work they put in. And what I usually tell them is when the team does well, players will get recognized. And it definitely held through this year.
Yeah, and the 2025-26 academic year isn't done. But the fall semester, that book is shut.
Yeah.
You look at the winter and spring now. What's next for the team? What's it been like since that last game of the season moving forward? What's been that kind of timeline like?
Well, the first thing we do, it was twofold when we came back last week. First of all, we had our first official visit weekend. First official visit weekend.
Oh, wow.
And so we had six players on campus. We were already at 6 commits for the 2026 class. And the coaches would do player evaluations with their position. And then also I meet with every single player on the team in the off season. So I've got a good start on that be sending them home after finals here at the end of this week. We'll get them back second semester. The first 8 weeks, the players are doing an intense winter training cycle with Coach Mason and his staff. Getting better, getting bigger, getting stronger, getting faster, getting more agile. As coaches, we finish up the recruiting cycle. Culminating on that first Wednesday in February being signing date. I know we're going to have a show that day as well.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. So that's kind of our next focus for the next phase, and that'll take us up to spring break, right before spring practice.
Yeah, and speaking of signing day, speaking of these recruits, obviously this is the point of the season where everyone expects this, okay, coach, you're going to go lay down on the couch, get some much needed rest. That's not the case, though, because you got to get right back to it and make sure that all these guys are coming to join the program, and you're going to keep getting that revolving door that we've talked about on the show today of those talented athletes.
Yeah.
When you look at the recruiting side of things right now, obviously you're kind of tying things in. What does that look like from the coaching side?
Well, this is kind of like the fourth quarter of recruiting actually for us. Okay. A lot of those relationships of guys that we've offered and we're going to be visiting, those relationships started back in March, April, and May. So we've been talking to a lot of these guys for a long, long time. Now it's just a matter of finishing. And up to this point, it's been talk. They get to know us. We get to know them, build a relationship. Hopefully they got a chance to watch us play during the fall. We went out and watched them play in person. Now it's a matter of getting them on campus. And let's put a package together for you and see if it works for you to be here financially. And so that's the next phase. And as they always say in recruiting, ABC, always be closing.
Of course. And, well, Coach, honestly, too, another thing to talk about in that realm is, the recruiting side, but also the transfer portal. Are you guys looking at that right now? What's that look like from Ashland perspective?
Yeah, I mean, we're investigating. We always will for the program.
Yeah.
The base of what we do recruiting will always be high school based. Mm-hmm. But we will look to intersperse maybe some short-term needs with portal guys or JUCO guys, okay? Now, the trick of it this year is in Division IIs and Division IIIs can be in the portal right now, but not Division Is. They can't declare that until their window opens January 2nd.
Okay.
So we're speculating a lot on what the Division I players potentially could be doing or could not be doing. So it's kind of an unknown, but we're evaluating guys that are in there that already from the Division II and Division III realm.
Yeah. Do you have your spring schedule laid out? Do you guys know when you guys start scrimmaging and getting those things down?
I do. It's not in front of me right now. I will say this. The second week in March is spring break.
Okay.
That very next week, we will start spring practice on Thursday. So I can't give you the exact date for that right now. I do know our spring game, we will culminate Saturday, April 25th with our purple and gold game, the traditional game.
Good. Well, Coach, any other final thoughts on how this year went or what's to come for the program?
No, with the program, I appreciate you. I appreciate your staff. Special shout out to everybody involved here with with Lewis and Bryce and John Scrata, Derek Wood, yourself, Mr. Gunder.
Yeah.
As well. He's the star of the show there with that. You guys do a great job putting this on. It's a great service, and I'm humbled to be a part of your operation.
Yeah, it's been great to have you, Coach. And again, as a reminder to everyone out there, we'll have 4 shows this coming spring, one in January, February, March, and April, alongside our signing day. Well, Coach, signing day, we talked about that a little bit as well. That's going to be an exciting time. We did it last year, but for those individuals that might be interested in coming to Ashland, it's also a chance for them to get their little shout out as well on that day.
Absolutely. It's nice to celebrate that next group of future Eagles. And we're excited with the guys who have verbally committed to us already. I'm excited to find out who's going to round out the class and be that great addition to help us hopefully get another conference championship, another berth in the playoffs next year.
Yeah, well, Coach, again, thanks for your commitment to this all season long, and congrats on an incredible year.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Again, that's the final for today's Doug Geiser Show, Year 3, Episode 13. Stay tuned for more to come in the spring, but for the fall semester, that's all we got. Thanks so much for tuning in all season long, right here on the Eagle Network.